American Muslim culture in general, there's this huge problem with over revering and over listening and just kind of taking anything that anyone says off the top of their head as gospel, as Muslim
I
gospel.
think I think we have healthy skepticism is good, and we should always have that, as Muslims. And I think that we should just also put things in its proper context, right? So I'm not gonna go to a hadith or a fiqh scholar and and ask them for advice on, like, how to fix my car or something, right? Just because a person is an expert in one particular field does not mean that that person is an expert in everything. In this, I don't know. I really think we got that mentality, like from like the immigrant community, right? So in the immigrant community, I don't know if you've seen this, but like, if a person is a medical doctor, he's somehow an imam, he's somehow a sheikh. He leads the prayer in the masjid. What's his qualification? Oh, he's a cardiologist. Okay.
I think they have that whole role of the imam, okay, that's supposed to know all about everything, and they just simply don't. I mean, it's like a lot of times it's like someone that has studied and specialized, because when you look at the scholarship and the way that the Islamic scholarship process, there's always specialization. So you're going to reach a certain level, and then you're going to have to like narrow that down into a
Yeah,
specialization, and that's what you know. That's what you become
exactly.
master at, type of thing. And but they take these people and they put them in this broad position of imam, and they're supposed to know everything. And what's even worse is that they pick them up out of their culture and they drop them in American Muslim culture, which, I mean, come on. Are you for real? Talking about a fish out of water and not understanding anything about what's going on. It's like they've been living in this bubble of scholarship, and now they're here, and here's this whole can of worms. They're not a product of the society themselves, oftentimes. If they are a product of the society, they haven't been able to explore other things that they need to know. Okay, because it's like you can study, yeah, you can study fiqh, you can become a faqih, but that doesn't mean that you're experienced in handling domestic violence. Okay, in Islamic context.
Even in the fiqh tradition, this is what a lot of people understand. So, and this is in our tradition. So traditionally, if a scholar was from another land, he or she cannot issue fatwas or legal opinions about issues in a place where they didn't live and they didn't have any knowledge of.
Oh wow. Did they do that to Albani? They used to come to him and ask him questions. He would answer. They go run it off. He
No,
said,
I'm not
telling
only that.
him that they were going to be using it all the way in his whole other context.
Yeah, I give you a perfect example, and I use this a lot. And this happened with my alma mater, of course, is Azhar. I love Azhar. Um, there was an Azhari scholar. This was in Virginia, and there was an issue where the warden of a prison, he asked this imam, a respected scholar. I'm not gonna say his name. He asked him, did the prison have to provide Friday prayers for the Muslim inmates? And the imam said no. Traditionally, there's nothing wrong with what he said. Why? Because Juma is not obligated upon a person who doesn't have his freedom. Right? So like slaves, and that would be the analogy of a person who doesn't have their freedom. Juma is not an obligation upon them. So the Lord said, okay, so he stopped the Muslims from having Friday prayer in the jail. The what the Imam said was technically true, but not in this context. Why? We have something which is something called what's that statute? Uh, reasonable accommodation, where actually the institution has to provide religious services for all inmates as long as there's no security risks and things like this. This is the law here. Of course, the imam was not familiar with that. He's just going off of this, the traditional fiqh text which he studied at Azhar and everything, and he said something which was erroneous in this context. Traditionally, that would be frowned upon. Someone not being culturally inclined and in tune, giving religious opinions about a place and about a people which they had no knowledge of, even if they were scholars. So we don't even have this in the Islamic tradition. Again, a lot of this is culture.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one-stop shop.